Alrighty, guys. It is 8:05, 4:08, March or April 8th, and we got a deal. I was just started looking at this. You know, Ivan Brian. No, he just started the update, and here's like my time to do my little updates. I was gonna postpone it, but I can't do that either. So I go down to take the DVR and play it back and re-listen to it. But it's uncanny how that had to turn out, right? So anyway, so we had, and I would just say deal. We have a deal, at least for now. It's like a 2 week ceasefire thing happened, and you can see how the market rocketed. We talked about that yesterday. Depending on what happens, deal market can explode to the upside. No deal, we may see market just testing the lows again. So that's what we had going into the overnight, and we had a deal at least for now. And let's see how that how that develops. So right now we have at least a deal on paper. It is a path before we get that anything confirmed. But you can see market that we're just going to assume that that's going to work out for now at least, and then take the days as they come. It is a little bit early, so euphoria is hitting the markets right now, and it's absolutely going nutcrackers. So you can see how we when it came out was pretty. We gapped up at the open yesterday. I looked like, oh, maybe we got something going here. And then they went back and forth. They had this violent rotation like half hour later, and then they start taking off like crazy. So as soon as the news came out, then the people figured out what it was all about. But I guess they're going to open the strait for 2 weeks. They're going to negotiate for 2 weeks, and then we'll see where they're at. So so we got a couple of weeks to for the markets to do its thing. But you can see here, we are right back up here to where we were, like 60. We are above that 60, 68.15 area. So right back up to where we started on this whole craziness. So I mean, you kind of have to stay on the long side of the market today, at least to get started. I would just caution a lot of volatility out there. I mean, I was tempted to take a trade last night watching it, like, and then realized, okay, these bars are huge, and my stop is nothing. So either I get in, and I just hope I can get in without the flow stopping, or you just trade with a much bigger stop. Because in other words, trade with a bigger stop means you just can't go to break even as you usually do. You have to kind of let it really leave it with a little bit of room to save for rotations. But anyway, I didn't do it. I know how that goes. You get too aggressive in a when the market is moving like that, you can easily get yourself chopped up. Even if you're right in the direction, just the volatility could chop you up. So I didn't do anything. But man, market is to the upside, and we are starting this on the long side of the market. And let's see how it develops. All right. Oil is way down. It's down to like 92, 93 bucks a barrel. They were trading at 117 something yesterday. So if people with long positions on oil without any stops, no hedges, they got creamed. But I would expect anyone with a half a brain would have had some kind of a hedge on or some kind of protection on their position, because you do know when to get caught in a move like that. A big move to the downside, and it came down to the wire for sure. Same story with the Nasdaq, also way up there. Nasdaq way up there, and you can tell we had Nasdaq blew through this whole area of attraction, and they're way up here above the 25 120s. So we're in a spot where we can trade up here again and start challenging that 25 450s. And this just happened in the overnight. So that's how quickly this whole thing can turn when the outlook changes. Now, on both the ES and the Nasdaq, moving this away, but you can see in the capital flow chart here, we are way up here in the upper areas. Chances are we may have a little bit of a euphoric overnight, so I would not be surprised if we see some day sessions selling to get started, flush out week long positions, and then maybe we'll see how the market feels after that. So initially, I would start trading it from the long side of the market on the ES. And you can see we have all these levels in between, which has been pretty much blown out on the way up. I left them up there. I didn't take them off because they could have value still. When it's violent like that, anything goes. But I would start by looking to buy against the support areas at the 68.15s, 6800, 67.85. These three support areas. Below 67.85, I would just look for a retracement trade and see how violent that's going to get. And if we don't get much weakness to buy against, then and they start taking this high, yes, they cannot try to stay on the long side of it. I would avoid trying to buy the highs because it is tempting. Sometimes you just have to do it. We just have to see how the day shapes up to get started. If it starts with a move to the upside and you see this grinding motion there is not letting up, well, by all means, buy the high at that point. You don't have any choice if you want to get in. But I'm going to be looking for potential early morning weakness where they try to shake out weak long positions. In other words, people chasing this on the way up, and see if they can flush those out. So that's the dynamic I'm looking for. If it doesn't happen, it may not happen, but if it does, could be a nice long opportunity down here. If you start taking out more than the 67.85s, maybe start trading it from a short chart at that point. But there's a lot of momentum to the upside right now, and it's we just have to see how the market shakes out as the day session kicks in. Now we have news this morning. We had the mortgage applications came out. A mixed bag, just kind of flat, I would say. We have an oil report at 10:30. 10-year auction at 1. So not a lot of news to drive the market. It's going to all be about repricing the market based on these 2 weeks. If the market believes it's going to be longer lasting, so on and so forth. But the fact that there are tankers moving through, or I think the ships moving through are starting to move through the strait, it's going to be significant. So that stays the way it is, and the Iranians doesn't start playing some of their games, fine. If they start playing games, I think the market gets all weirded out and jittery again. So just listen to that. Listen to the headlines as they come out, as you hear them, and don't try to chase the market or definitely don't step in front of it. It's way too volatile right now. On the Nasdaq, same story there. I'm going to look to buy weakness. I'm going to look for that early morning flush if it happens. In other words, if the early morning is going to be trying to shake out weak long positions, we'll see them try to take it lower. I would look to buy against that 200s, the 25 120s, 25,040s, and the 25,000s rotations up. Just be mindful they start taking out the low 25,000s. Bets may be off, and we may be retracing more. So if something comes out as to, they're not honoring the ceasefire, they keep shooting ballistic missiles into Israel, obviously there's going to be a different take on it. So they were still shooting last night, but I think they came out, that guy with Foreign Minister came out and talked about the 2 weeks trial. So I hope hope that everyone knew about it, but there's so many different moving factors there. So just watch the headlines, and if the market start blowing through these lows at 25,000 on the downside on the Nasdaq, on the ES, that's going to be the this level here at the 67.85s. If they come out, we may have something threatening the deal, and the market is reacting to it. Watch oil. Oil is trading down to 92. So far, it's on the downside. If oil starts trading up above, and I think if you look at my oil, I only have an F2 on oil, but you can see here, if it starts trading up above that 97, 98 levels, these upper areas here on oil, they came to balance around about 95, 96. It starts trading up above this, up in this tail here, start retracing this move to the downside. Yeah, something is threatening the deal, and you can expect the market also to follow suit to the downside. So, and those are the things to watch for. Other than that, I would just assume the long side is going to own the day, and I would look to trade it from the long side. But just look for that early morning flush if there's going to be some weak, some shaking out of weak long positions. So those are the options I'm looking at. But I'm going to buy against weakness. I'm not going to be looking to sell strength by any means, or sell against these areas very aggressively at all. I'm gonna try to focus on the long side, unless I see something happening which it looks like it's that something is in jeopardy on the deal and the market is having a fit of some sort. If you want to try a short trade below the London close, the retrace below that 168.15 on the ES, 25,120 on the Nasdaq. It could be a potential short trade there if they're going to run it lower and shake out weak positions, but I would just give it a little bit of room because if you don't want to get caught in just a stop run there. You're looking at them to run the stops, back off a little bit, try it again, and then start look for continuation. That's kind of when you can hop on the trade. If you hop on the pullback, just keep your stop tight in case it's a support area which is holding, and then you find yourself getting retraced, run over on the retracement. So, few different options, but I would key in on the London low for a potential short if you're looking for a retracement trade on the downside. Still looking to buy against support areas and look for that lower edge, the 67.85 and the 25,000 for potential change in direction. Now looking at the bond market, is to the upside. It popped a bit up to 115, so they're back to the attractor area right now. Not a whole lot of movement, but definitely a positive reaction. So prices up, yields down, and that's a good sign. Could be a nice tradable day on the bonds as well, depending on what they're going to do. But if like it looks right now, not too much to trade with it. But if they start running this higher, I would start from the long side on the bonds. We're going to buy against the 25s, the 20s down to the 14, 15s here for rotations up initially. And if they trade below the 14, 15 to 16s here, then I think they are same as the ES, may be an issue going on at that point. But starting from the long side on the bonds, but we are getting pretty close to that attractor at 115 here at the 1510s. And if that would be the target. So if they take out this area now, they're 115s, look for a run up there, but that's about it, I think. We'll see. Bond market, trade that from the long side just to get started. When it comes to the cryptos, man, they were moving pretty good. So here's the crypto chart, and these are, as I said, these are volume to much lighter volumes. So 3,200 contracts on silver so far, and over at 28,000 on oil. That's pretty big. But you can see on oil, if you just make that a little bit bigger, that one was moving pretty freaking good. So this is oil and moving this kind of stalled in that range, but same as the same exact chart as you see on the other gold market. This is gold on Coinbase, so it's a different market. It trades 10 cents a tick, much smaller market. It's easier to trade if you don't want to risk a lot of money. But it moves exactly the same way. So it trades the same way, moves the same way. And these are cash settled programs. And I did release the software yesterday. So the 861 is out there, and I'm going to do a little update and do some kind of a little session on how to set up Coinbase. I had to turn on the permission for you to get access to it, but if you're interested, let me know. But I didn't take any trades on Coinbase last night. It was a little bit too volatile, but man, that was tempting. You can see both Ethereum. You can see Ethereum is at, or Bitcoin is up to 71,800 now. It jumped 5,000 points. Say this is the Ethereum futures. So this is not the crypto itself. This is the futures contracts on the crypto. That's what it is. The derivatives. It's not the underlying cash crypto you're looking at here. Anyway, so no trades on that one so far today, but watching it, they could be something to trade. If I trade oil, I'm going to be trading it on Coinbase. I can't afford the margins on oil, right? That's too freaking crazy. So I can't trade oil on the real market on the exchanges. I think the right now, as far as I know, that's been 100% margin. So if you trade right now, you may pay attention because with 100% margin, you definitely may run into margin requirements if you click in a couple of orders. Depends on how big your account you got. But right now, definitely oil is going to be way up there in margins. But I haven't seen a margin announcement that they dropped down to day margins just yet. So I think the margins are at 100% right now across the board. All right. There you go. So we leave it there for now, guys. So I'm going to wind back and listen to Hegset and see what they're talking about there. But watch for that potential flush in the morning. And if it doesn't happen, the market just keeps trading higher, then we may just favor the long side if you wish. That's the way I would look at it. Alrighty, guys, we'll leave it there. And I'll see you back at 1:30 or 11:30 for the next update. Alrighty, guys, later.